When I pushed open the door to the hospital room, Liam was leaning against the headboard, staring out the window. He heard the noise and turned his head. His eyes were distant, like he was looking at a stranger. My husband had gotten amnesia from a car accident. And the only person he forgot was me. "Who are you?" he asked with a frown. I clutched the strap of my purse, forcing myself to get through an introduction. The entire visit, he was so polite, like he was dealing with a complete stranger. As I was walking out of the room, I suddenly heard his excited voice from behind me. "Doctor. I think I'm in love. That girl who was just here, it was love at first sight. Wouldn't it be amazing if I could marry her?" Standing just outside the door, I looked down at the wedding ring on my finger. For a moment, I didn't know if I should go back in and tell him. "Your dream already came true." The sharp, antiseptic smell of the hospital made my stomach churn. When I got the call that Liam had been in a car accident, I bolted out the door without even grabbing a coat. When I pushed open his room door, he was laughing and chatting with his best friend, Zach. He looked fine. The knot in my chest finally loosened. I hurried to his bedside, my voice trembling. "You scared me to death." Liam looked up, his eyes full of unfamiliarity. "And you are?" I froze, thinking he was joking. "Stop messing around. That's not funny at all," I said, reaching for his hand. He flinched back like he'd just run into a creep. "Miss, do we know each other?" My heart sank. After 3 years of marriage, I knew his face when he was lying, and right now, he genuinely didn't remember me. Tears started falling uncontrollably. Liam instinctively reached out to wipe them away, but his hand stopped mid-air as he stared at it in confusion. I turned to Zach, my voice choked with emotion. "What did the doctor say?" He met my gaze and explained, "The doctor said there's still some bruising on his brain. He might forget a few things." This wasn't forgetting a few things. This was forgetting me completely. The look in Liam's eyes was that of a total stranger, and a wave of bitterness washed over me. "I'm going to go talk to the doctor." I practically fled the room. After leaving, I leaned against the door, trying to calm myself down. Just as I was about to walk away, I heard Liam's excited voice from inside. "It's over for me. I've fallen in love. It was love at first sight with that girl who was just here. I can't even imagine how happy I'd be if she were my wife." All my sadness vanished in an instant. Inside the room, Zach froze for a few seconds after hearing this, then suppressed a laugh. "You want to go after her?" "Why can't I? Do you know her?" Zach had absolutely no intention of telling him the truth. "Oh, I know her," he said, his tone playful. "You know her, too." "Really?" Liam's voice got louder with excitement. No wonder she rushed over as soon as I got in the accident. "Are we close?" "You too?" "It's a bit complicated." "How complicated?" "You're living together." Liam looked like he'd been struck by lightning. "Living together?" "Me, the other party involved." Zach was clearly taking advantage of Liam's amnesia to mess with him. Liam was still having an existential crisis. "Why am I living with her? Don't tell me I was, like, forcing her to be with me or something?" Zach finally burst out laughing. "Yep, that's a true friend right there. The truth is, Liam fell for me first. But instead of just asking me out, he listened to some bad advice and decided to play games, trying to reel me in. And I let myself get reeled in. I couldn't help it. That 8-pack, the V-taper, a face that looked like it was sculpted by the gods. It was really hard not to fall for him. Thinking about this, I decided against opening the door and telling him the truth. What goes around, comes around. It was his turn to properly chase me for once. And this time, he was definitely going to be the one to confess first. The doctor told me Liam's condition wasn't too serious and that he should recover in a few months with some rest. I came out of the doctor's office and went straight home. I took down all our wedding photos and moved all my things from the master bedroom to the guest room. Once I was sure there were no giveaways, I headed back to the hospital. When Liam saw me again, his cold demeanor was completely gone. He looked at me and asked in the deepest voice he could manage, "I hear we're living together?" Zach was standing beside him, trying so hard not to laugh he looked like he was about to have an aneurysm. I suppressed my own laughter and said with a blank face, "To be precise, we're roommates." "Roommates?" Liam was in total disbelief. "Me and you?" "That's right. You made a bad investment, blew through your savings, and have no income. All you have left is a house with a mortgage you haven't paid off, so you had to get a roommate to make ends meet." I wasn't even lying. Because that's the exact story Liam made up back then so he could live with me. And I actually believed him. Liam paused for a few seconds, then looked at Zach in disbelief. Zach quickly wiped the smile off his face, patted Liam on the shoulder, and sighed. "It's true, man. You're pretty broke right now. You had to borrow money from me to make last month's mortgage payment." That's Zach, a natural-born liar. He didn't even need to prep. "I'm broke?" Liam silently closed his eyes, looking utterly devastated. I could understand. Anyone would have a meltdown if they woke up not only missing 3 years of memories but also having gone from a trust fund kid to someone drowning in debt. He looked at me, finding it hard to speak. "Are you saying I'm completely dependent on you for money now?" He looked so adorable right now. If I weren't in the middle of this act, I definitely would have kissed him. I pushed the inappropriate thought aside and kept my tone as distant as possible. "I wouldn't say that. We're just a landlord and a tenant." Maybe our relationship was too professional, because Liam looked a little disappointed. Zach's eyes met mine, and I instantly knew what he was thinking. This whole charade was fun, and he wanted to keep it going. He pretended we weren't close and said, trying to be tactful, "Maya, since Liam's been in an accident and it's not convenient for him, would you mind taking care of him for a month or two? Just make sure he gets fed. We can count it toward his rent for the next few months." Liam's eyes lit up when he heard that. He looked like he was thinking, "Why didn't I think of that? What a great friend." I didn't say anything, feigning hesitation. Liam looked up at me and said cautiously, "Would that be okay?" TSK. This is exactly how he got me, with that innocent, harmless face. I can't believe he's still using the same trick after all these years. I gave him a smile. "All right, then." Liam was discharged after a few days and came home. To make the act more convincing, I moved into the guest room and even secretly changed my contact name in his phone. But I have to admit, habit is a powerful thing. Without Liam holding me, I had a rare bout of insomnia. Scrolling through my phone didn't make me sleepy at all. In fact, it just made me more wired. Then I clicked on a Reddit post and found a familiar account. It was Liam. I knew his account. He usually used it to answer professional questions. But half an hour ago, a new, out-of-place question had appeared. Fell for my roommate at first sight. How do I win her over? The replies underneath were all over the place. You're already living together and you haven't sealed the deal? Bro, you need to step up your game. If you have money, throw money at her. If you have a good body, use it to seduce her. If you can cook, win over her stomach. If you have none of the above, keep dreaming. Just go for it, man. Are you a man or not? If you are, just make a move. Maybe Liam felt these suggestions weren't practical, because he added an update. Forgot to mention, I don't have a job. I'm her landlord and roommate, and I'm living off her rent money. The moment he posted that, the comments section erupted. Yeah, just stick to dreaming. I seriously suspect the OP is just trying to scare the girl into paying higher rent. Dude, your priority right now should be finding a job, not chasing girls. Knowing Liam, these comments would probably just make him more determined. After all, that's the kind of persistence that won me over in the first place. I decided to mess with him. I quickly posted a comment, "Are you sure your roommate doesn't already have a boyfriend?" A few minutes after I posted that, I got a text from Liam. You up? Not yet. So. I have a question for you. What's up? Do you have a boyfriend? I couldn't help but laugh when I read that. No. I could hear Liam's excited shout from behind the door. I smirked, my fingers still typing. But I'm married. Maybe I'd gone too far. It was 10 minutes, and Liam still hadn't replied. He wasn't going to give up, was he? I got up, planning to go and explain everything, but as soon as I opened my door, we were face to face. He looked flustered when he saw me, with a hint of hurt. After a long hesitation, he finally asked, unable to let it go. Are you really married? I didn't say anything, just sighed. Seeing my hesitant expression, Liam's hope died completely. His eyes filled with bitterness. My heart softened. I couldn't help it. It was hard not to melt when he was looking at me so pitifully with that face that was so perfectly my type. Okay. I was lying. Liam's expression instantly went from stormy to sunny. If he had a tail, it would be wagging like crazy right now. I continued, feigning distress. People keep using "I'm interested in you" as an excuse to harass me, so I just tell them I'm married and live with my husband. If you're uncomfortable with that, I can move out tomorrow. I slowly lowered my head, trying to look as pathetic as possible. I'm not. Of course I'm not uncomfortable. Liam immediately declared, afraid I'd start packing my bags that very second. Really? I looked up at him with a smile, my voice soft. Liam, you're so nice. The tips of his ears turned red, and he started rambling. I'm okay. Not that nice, really. Realizing he was losing his composure, Liam said stiffly, well, I'm going back to bed. Good night. Good night. He walked back to his room with his arms and legs moving in perfect, awkward sync. The first thing Liam did when he got back to his room was reply to my comment on the Reddit thread. She doesn't have a boyfriend. And she tells people I'm her husband. It's fake for now, but it'll be real one day. I've got the strength and the strategy. His bold declaration attracted a flock of wingmen ready to give him advice. One user named MyBroIsAnIdiot caught Liam's attention. Dude. Listen to me. Play your biggest card and go all out. Like what? You got abs? If so, you have to find a way to show them off, but make it subtle. Remember, that now you see it now you don't thing is way more attractive. I have a strong suspicion this is the same guy who gave Liam advice 3 years ago. God knows, the moment I first saw his abs, I knew our roommate relationship was about to change. 3 years have passed. I'm not the same thirsty girl I was back then. A simple six-pack couldn't possibly reel me in again. Except it totally did. Damn it, how can a person fall for the same abs twice? I watched Liam walk out of his room, a towel wrapped around his waist, trying so hard to look casual but failing miserably. My face turned red against my will. What is wrong with me? How have I been looking at this for 3 years and still not gotten tired of it? I cleared my throat and turned my head away to hide my reaction. Though my heart was pounding, my face remained a mask of calm. Maybe you should put a shirt on. Liam, who was in the middle of striking a pose, said, huh? I told him in a deadpan voice, the flu is going around. You could get sick like that, and then you might get me sick. If I have to take time off, I can't earn money, and then I can't pay rent. Liam just stared at me, completely baffled. I thought he'd be discouraged, but instead, he broke into a goofy grin. Got it. I'll go put a shirt on right now. Something's not right. This is very not right. I racked my brain but couldn't figure out his reaction. Liam was quick. He came back out fully dressed and sat down across from me. He was on his phone, occasionally stealing glances at me. Puzzled, I pretended to scroll through my own phone. Then I found his latest reply to MyBroIsAnIdiot on that thread. Dude. It actually worked. She was worried about me getting sick, and she was worried that if I got her sick, she wouldn't be able to pay rent and we couldn't live together anymore. You think she might like me a little? Me, who had been completely misunderstood. Even after 3 years of marriage, I still feel inadequate because I can never keep up with Liam's train of thought. Has anyone ever reverse-engineered their own seduction like this? I mean, really? It wasn't just me who was speechless, my bro is an idiot was, too. She didn't have any other reaction? Like blushing, getting flustered, not being able to look you in the eye? No, but she was worried about me. She's probably just worried about whether she has a place to live. Wrong. She's clearly worried about whether she can live with me. Whatever. Let's move on. Try something else. I'll teach you another trick. Play the vulnerability card. Best if it's some kind of childhood trauma. Make her feel sorry for you. Pity is the first step to love. But I had a great childhood. Ever heard of a little literary device called exaggeration? I get it. Bro, you're a genius. The moment I read that, I had a bad feeling. No, it couldn't be. Not that same old story again. I glanced at Liam sitting across from me. His eyes met mine, and he immediately looked away. He might as well have a neon sign above his head flashing, I'm about to do something sketchy. After dinner, I was about to take a shower. Liam's phone suddenly rang. He glanced at me before answering. I recognized the voice on the other end, it was his cousin. Liam was giving her vague answers. I'm fine, just a few scratches. You don't need to worry about me. I have someone taking care of me. You don't believe me? Here, I'll put her on. He walked over and handed me the phone, whispering a plea, do me a favor. I don't want my family to worry. I hesitated for a second before taking the phone. His cousin's voice came through immediately. Maya. I didn't blow your cover. My cousin texted me earlier and said he wants to chase you, so he asked me to call him. Are you two playing some kind of cosplay game? I gotta say, even with amnesia, my cousin's still got schemes, just not very good ones. Liam's cousin already knew about his amnesia and had agreed to help me with the act. I stifled a laugh, met Liam's eyes, and replied for his benefit, you don't have to thank me. He's my roommate, after all. His cousin praised my acting skills for a bit before hanging up. Liam took the phone back and let out a dramatic sigh. I ignored him. He sighed again. I found it hilarious but put on a concerned face. What's wrong? Liam seized the opportunity, his voice sinking low. Thinking about my cousin reminds me of something that happened in first grade. Here we go again. Even though I'd heard this story at least 800 times, I still pretended I knew nothing. What happened? Seeing I'd taken the bait, Liam almost couldn't suppress his grin. It's not a big deal. It was just after my cousin was born. I wanted to go see her, but my parents ganged up on me, saying kids shouldn't get involved in grown-up stuff. The more he spoke, the sadder he got, until he finally lowered his head, looking completely abandoned. I remember the first time I heard this story, I was already starting to have feelings for Liam. When he opened up and shared this childhood trauma with me, it was hard not to be moved. For a long time after that, I felt incredibly sorry for him. It wasn't until after we got married that I casually asked Liam's mom about it. That's when I learned the real reason he got in trouble was that his teacher had asked the class to bring their favorite thing to school. And he had secretly brought his baby cousin, who was only a few months old. His parents were frantic. The teacher was horrified. His classmates were stunned. And there he was, smug as could be. When his cousin heard she had to act in a play with Liam, she agreed without a second thought. I have every reason to suspect she was just getting revenge for what happened all those years ago. After Liam finished his story, he sneakily glanced up to see my reaction. Knowing the truth, I felt more sorry for my naive past self. Under Liam's expectant gaze, I said coolly, they didn't punish you enough. It was so long ago, huh? Liam's sad expression froze on his face. Not enough? Yeah. I mean, your cousin was just a baby. You were a clumsy kid. What if you dropped her? And the hospital is a busy place. What if you lost her? Liam wasn't sad anymore, just shocked. So, I shouldn't have blamed my parents for that? Duh. Anyone who secretly brings a baby to school is going to get a talking to. I came out of the shower. Liam was back at it, consulting with my bro as an idiot. Instead of using DMs, they were having a full-blown conversation in the comments section, and besides me, a lot of other people were following along. Dude. Thank you so much. After she heard about my childhood trauma, it totally helped me reconcile with my parents. She's definitely got a thing for me. My bro as an idiot clearly didn't believe him and asked for more details. After he got them, he seemed to shut down. And you think she felt sorry for you? Why wouldn't she? She was worried I'd get lost in the hospital. Isn't that a sign she cares? Fine, if you say she cares, she cares. Okay, brother, this is the final move. This one's a guaranteed win. As they say, a man 3 parts drunk will make you cry your heart out. Pretending to be drunk is the best way to heat things up. But I don't drink. I didn't say you had to actually drink. You just need to smell like alcohol. I get it. I got it, too. So that's what it was. Liam was faking it back then. I always wondered why I'd only seen him drink that one time in 3 years. I sat on my bed and let out a frustrated laugh. How could someone with amnesia use the exact same playbook to chase a girl? About an hour later, I heard a heavy thud from outside the door. It's starting. Our Oscar-winning actor, Liam, has begun his performance. The thought of having to go out there and match his acting skills made me want to laugh. Liam was still out there, relentlessly making noise. I braced myself, opened the door, and saw a figure in the dim living room dramatically collapse to the floor. This was followed by the sound of a bottle clinking against a glass. Using the moonlight spilling into the living room, I walked over to Liam. On the floor was the bottle of 82 Lafite I had someone buy for me. This scene was costing a fortune. I winced for a second before slowly approaching him. He reeked of alcohol, and a few buttons on his shirt were undone. His collarbone was clearly visible. I subconsciously swallowed. Well, there it is. I'm hooked by his good looks all over again. Liam looked at me, a hazy smile on his face, and said in a slurred, shaky voice, I misunderstood them. The them was probably his parents. Wow, he even managed to connect the storylines. Feeling remorseful after all these years for misunderstanding his parents, he turned to drink. The plot was almost too perfect. I have to admit, he's got skills. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so foolishly deceived by him. I reached out to steady his swaying body, chiding him gently, how could you drink? You just got out of the hospital. You're being so reckless with yourself. Liam quietly mumbled, I didn't really drink that much. Not that much? This whole bottle is empty. You call that not much? Liam saw that I was a little angry and smiled at me. You're worried about me. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Of course I'm worried. You're my huss. My what? My boss. Liam looked disappointed, muttering, but I don't want to be your boss. I raised an eyebrow. Then what do you want to be? In the moonlight, I could only see his eyes. They were clear and very serious. He had the same look 3 years ago when he pretended to be drunk. Back then, I thought he was actually wasted. I didn't see the unconcealable affection swirling in his eyes. The world was silent. I could only hear his heartbeat. Liam opened his mouth, but without the aid of alcohol, he still couldn't bring himself to say he liked me. I was annoyed. He was being as hesitant now as I was decisive back then. 3 years ago, I took advantage of his drunkenness and kissed him. 3 years later, I did the same thing. I leaned in and pressed my lips against his. Liam's eyes widened in shock, his whole body frozen. After a moment, our eyes met. Liam, are you going to remember this tomorrow morning? He nodded, then shook his head, looking like he'd lost the ability to think. I smiled. We'll talk about it in the morning. Go back to sleep for now. Of course, he didn't sleep. Instead, he was frantically tagging my bro as an idiot to share his joy. Ah, she kissed me. What does this mean? Does she like me? My bro as an idiot didn't reply, but other users went wild. There's no fing way that worked. Oh, so this is just some cute couple game. Ha ha ha, I totally thought this stuff actually worked. I'm not mad at all. Seriously suspect the OP is just catfishing. You can lie to us, bro, but don't lie to yourself. Liam replied to them, one by one. I watched, amused, for a while before turning off my phone and going to sleep. The next morning, Liam came to the dining room with dark circles under his eyes. He clearly hadn't slept well. I, on the other hand, had slept like a baby. I nonchalantly ate my breakfast. He sat down across from me, looking extremely nervous. After watching me calmly eat for 10 minutes without saying a word, Liam couldn't wait any longer. He said tentatively, last night. You drank too much last night. And then? And then nothing. The light in Liam's eyes flickered out. He looked wronged. Why aren't you taking responsibility? What? Liam completely forgot about his fake drunk act and said with righteous indignation, you kissed me last night. So you have to be responsible for me. A small smile played on my lips. You remember that clearly? But you drank quite a bit. Liam avoided my gaze, looking guilty, and mumbled, I'm different from other people. I put down my sandwich and looked at him seriously. Alright, the relationship between us isn't exactly simple. The light returned to Liam's eyes. His voice trembled with excitement. So what are we? I paused, then, under his expectant gaze, I slowly said. We're actually kissing buddies. Kissing buddies? Yeah, a relationship where we just kiss, no strings attached. Liam's world came crashing down. His voice was shaking. Is my future self this open? He looked deeply shaken. I lowered my head dejectedly. If you can't accept this now, I can always find someone else. No. Liam blurted out. Even though he hadn't accepted his new, progressive self, he couldn't accept me finding someone else even more. He took a moment to compose himself. So, what exactly do kissing buddies do? I said with a completely straight face, we just kiss. Liam's mouth twitched. Purely kissing? Yeah, just for fun. His brain completely short-circuited. I think I need a minute to process this. He threw that line at me and fled back to his room as if he'd seen a ghost. I watched him go with a smirk and opened my phone. Sure enough, he was back at it, messaging my bro as an idiot. Bro. Everything's messed up. She says we're just kissing buddies. Kissing buddies? Yeah, a relationship where we just kiss. Damn. Clearly, my bro as an idiot was also profoundly shocked. A few seconds later, I got a text from Zach. Maya, you're on another level. I bow down to you. So he finally couldn't keep up the act. My bro is an idiot, don't say that. After all, you've been Liam's wingman for 3 years. When Zach saw that, he confessed everything. Maya. It's true, I gave Liam that advice back then. But for the sake of you two living happily ever after, please don't tell him my bro is an idiot, is me. If he hadn't taught Liam the same 3 tricks every time, I never would have figured out that my bro is an idiot was Zach. And I definitely wouldn't have figured out that Zach was the one who gave him those terrible ideas 3 years ago. I knew Liam didn't seem like the type to come up with these schemes on his own. When it comes to romance, he's really not that bright. Ever since Liam found out we were kissing buddies, he'd been intentionally avoiding me. But he couldn't help but get close to me either. He seemed to be in agony. On one hand, he thought our relationship was way too improper. On the other hand, he figured an improper relationship was better than just being roommates. Coincidentally, my high school reunion was coming up, and they said to bring a +1. I decided this would be the final blow. He had to confess to me this time. I cornered Liam as he was trying to escape. Trapped, he couldn't even look me in the eye. Liam, if this is making you uncomfortable, I can move out. I'm not uncomfortable. Liar. The frown on his face was deeper than the Mariana Trench. Then can you come to my high school reunion with me? Huh? Me? Yeah. A flash of surprise and delight crossed his face. In what capacity? I smiled and winked at him. As my husband, of course. Once he had the official title of husband, Liam stopped avoiding me. He acted like some illicit affair had finally been brought into the light. On the day of the reunion, he walked out of his room in a custom-tailored suit. I almost fainted. I immediately made him change. He was reluctant. Who knows, your high school crush might be there. I can't lose. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I just pulled an outfit from his closet and handed it to him. Though he wasn't happy about it, he obediently changed. After he changed, I looked him over and nodded. We're wearing matching outfits. Everyone will know we're a couple. That one sentence was enough to appease him. By the time Liam and I arrived at the restaurant, most people were already there. When Sarah saw me, she stood up and waved. I led Liam by the hand and sat down next to her. She looked at me, then at Liam, and teased, "Your husband looks a little different than before." He did look different. Before, he had a buzz cut, like a wolf. Now, he has curly hair, like a puppy. If I didn't look closely, I'd think you got a new husband. She didn't mean anything by it, but the words hit their mark. Liam's expression instantly darkened, his eyes flickering. His mind was racing, and he had already concluded that the husband I'd brought before was someone else. Unwilling to be outdone, he tried to score a point for himself. She did get a new one. A much handsomer one. Sarah thought he was joking and laughed heartily. She completely missed the darkening mood emanating from Liam. This was actually pretty fun. I'd never seen him get jealous of himself before. Liam tactically picked up his glass, glancing at me over the rim as he took a sip. He seemed to be waiting for an explanation. I pretended not to notice and kept chatting happily with Sarah. A few minutes later, he couldn't take it anymore. He leaned close to my ear and asked menacingly, "Was he in that kind of relationship with you, too?" I played dumb. "Who's he?" "My predecessor." I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Who calls their love rival a predecessor? What kind of relationship? He squeezed out 2 words, "kissing buddies." I didn't answer him, just looked at him and smiled. He took my silence as a confirmation, and the words that came out of his mouth were sourer than old vinegar. A friendship of 3 is too crowded. He had completely misunderstood. I decided to clear things up. He was my husband, after all. I beckoned to Liam with my finger. He hesitated for a second before leaning in. I whispered into his ear, my breath warm on his face. "Liam, he and I were just friends. You're the only person I've ever kissed." After speaking, I turned my head and planted a light, fleeting kiss on his cheek. Liam froze as if he'd been hit by a stun gun, completely motionless. But his cheeks turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Once he processed what I'd done, he couldn't stop fidgeting, a huge grin plastered on his face. As he sat in the corner, secretly gloating, he seemed to be contemplating something. Finally, his expression hardened with resolve, as if he'd made a major decision. Confused, I watched him type on his phone. The moment he put it down, a message from Zach popped up on mine. "Maya, just see for yourself." Attached was a screenshot of a DM from Liam to "My bro is an idiot, aka Zach." "Bro, I've decided to confess. She's definitely into me, just a little shy. She said I'm the only person she's ever kissed." This must be what they call the one. After reading that, I fell into a long silence. Liam was lucky he ended up with me. Otherwise, with his tendency for self-delusion and late-stage hopeless romanticism, if someone sold him, he'd probably just say, "She only sold me, which means I'm special to her." Liam remained on high alert for the rest of the party. As we walked out of the restaurant, the cool night air made me shiver. Seeing this, Liam took off his jacket and draped it over my shoulders. The faint, clean scent of his clothes enveloped me, a feeling I'd missed. I looked at him standing in front of me and finally couldn't hold back anymore. I threw myself into his arms. I wrapped my arms around his waist, feeling his warmth. Not only did Liam not push me away, he instinctively hugged me back. I knew this was a reflex, a physical response built from our countless embraces. Maybe it was the perfect moonlight. Or maybe it was an overwhelming love that could no longer be contained. Holding me, Liam easily said the words I'd been waiting to hear. "Maya. Whether we're kissing buddies or just friends, I can't do this anymore. Every time I see you, my heart tells me the same thing, I'm in love with you." I felt the vibration in his chest. And I knew, without a doubt, that his heart was beating for me. So I said, "Then let's be together." Being with Liam again was surprisingly fresh. I mean, we'd already been married for 2 years. He had evolved into a restrained, disciplined husband. But now, he was back to being the easily flustered puppy he was before we got married. Anyone could see I was eating well. Most importantly, even though Liam had amnesia, his cooking skills hadn't diminished one bit. He would often stare at the dishes he made, puzzled. He'd never learned, yet it was all second nature. He concluded he was a natural-born talent and almost signed up for a cooking competition. I managed to talk him out of it by telling him I only wanted him to cook for me. After that, he worked even harder to cook for me. Because I was eating so well, my stomach started acting up. After a checkup at the hospital, the doctor gave me 2 pieces of good news. First, there was nothing wrong with my stomach. Second, I was pregnant. I took the report, feeling a little dazed. My mind raced, calculating the dates. I finally determined it must have happened the night before Liam's accident, over a month ago. I quickly came to terms with the news. After all, this had been part of our plan. But I'd forgotten, this was the plan from before Liam's amnesia. Right now, in the hospital corridor, Liam was standing frozen with the report in his hand, looking like he'd been turned to stone. When his eyes met mine, he was trembling. "Whose baby is this?" "Yours, of course." Liam let out a bitter laugh. "As far as I know, you can't get pregnant from kissing." He paused, thinking for a few seconds. "Or has technology advanced so much in 3 years that kissing can lead to pregnancy? I now understand why they say a woman in love is no different from someone who's had 3 pounds of liquor. To think I was once so infatuated with this man's brain that I let him completely reel me in." I felt like crying and laughing at the same time. "Let's go home first. I'll explain everything when we get there." As soon as we got home, I pulled our marriage certificate out of the cabinet. When he saw the little red book, he turned to stone again. He looked completely shattered. "You're married? Did I become the other man?" "You're not the other man." "I'm not even the other man? Am I, like, the 4th party?" Seeing my expression darken, Liam closed his eyes. "Please don't tell me I'm the 5th. His voice was already tinged with tears, his eyes red and welling up. Seeing him like this, I rushed over in a panic. "Don't cry, honey." Liam stubbornly turned his head away. "I'm the other man, and I'm not even allowed to cry. Don't call me honey. You have a real husband. I'm just some shameful secret. This is so disgraceful. Wait, what is he even talking about? How does he have the status of the main spouse but the mentality of the side piece?" My head was spinning. I forcefully opened the marriage certificate and held it up to his face. "Read it." Liam was heartbroken. "Isn't this a little too cruel for the other man?" "Read." Liam recited like a robot, devoid of emotion. Certificate holders Maya Pei, Liam Lin. Wait. 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 He snatched the certificate from my hands as if he'd won the lottery, glanced at the photo, then at the names. He was ecstatic. 2 years ago. Was I this awesome 2 years ago? He immediately adopted the air of the rightful spouse, excitedly hugging me and burying his head in my neck. I'm so happy. Today is such a good day. Not only do I have a wife, but I have a child, too. Liam cried again. But this time, they were tears of joy. Ever since I got pregnant, Liam wanted to be by my side 24 hours a day. His memory never returned. I asked the doctor about it. He said the bruising on his brain had mostly healed, but as for when his memories might return, we could only wait. Liam wasn't too bothered by it. He felt it didn't make a difference, he loved me just the same. I thought about it and agreed. I stopped obsessing over it. Until one morning, he ran excitedly from the living room back to our bedroom. He announced in a joyful tone, "Honey, you're pregnant." I rolled my eyes at him. I'm about to give birth. Then I realized something was off. Honey, you got your memory back? Liam came over and helped me up, nodding. I remembered all the things I'd done while he had amnesia and felt a pang of guilt. I immediately started apologizing. I'm sorry, honey. I shouldn't have tricked you when you had amnesia. Liam shook his head at me and said angrily, "It's not your fault. I can tell this was Zach's terrible idea. He's been messing with me for years. He wouldn't even let me off the hook when I had amnesia." Watching him go on, condemning Zach, I silently decided to keep the fact that my bro is an idiot was also him a secret. But I underestimated him. Liam had gotten smarter. He even pretended to be some random netizen to trick me. And if you're going to pretend, at least pick a decent username. Well, there's no saving Zach now. As he was talking, Liam suddenly changed the subject. But I've already taught him a lesson. How did you teach him a lesson? I revoked his right to be my child's godfather. Looking at his smug face, I silently retracted my earlier comment about him being smart. After Liam got his memory back, not much changed. He still treated me like a queen. The wedding certificate was hung back up in the living room. I suddenly remembered what he said to me during our wedding vows, "Loving you has become the most ordinary thing." It's like how he forgot me, forgot everything between us. But he still remembered how to love me.